All right, so we're back out here today. We're going to take a quick look with the Harrells tuner. We've got the rifle set up without it right now. We're going to get a quick baseline group at 50 and then put the tuner on it and see if we can make any improvements. So we'll just do a quick 5-round group. Here we go. All right, get her zoomed in. Here we go. Alright, that's our baseline group with no tuner on it. Obviously this is a different day. The wind is not blowing like it was yesterday. But as that group shows, this gun just is not shooting real well. It could be an ammo thing or whatever, but I'm staying with the same ammo from yesterday's tests so that we can remain consistent. So let's go ahead and get the tuner put on and we'll see what it does from there. All right, we got her over here. Go ahead and get our thread protector off. And this is the Harrells tuner brake. I do have this backed all the way down to the 0 setting on my 0 hash. So, in case anybody was wondering why it looked kind of crazy long right there. Probably wouldn't hurt to tighten that. Ooh. Get the bipod tightened up a little bit there. Give the brake a good quick snug. Get our setting. I want to make sure we start at 0 and firm the jam nut up. We're ready to start. We'll get our initial group with the tuner. So we're on our 0 setting, like I said, and let's go ahead and see what that looks like. We're only going to fire 2 shots. This is the same kind of like my ATS tuner video. I'm going to fire 2, see how close they are, and then I'll make an adjustment from there. Kind of high. So those 2 are just almost touching. So that's that's not bad. I'm not displeased with that. We will go ahead and make an adjustment and see if we can't get a little more out of it. So bear with me. All right, so in case you were wondering how the Harrells tuner works, we have these 2 jam nuts here. If I can get them freed up. So we were at the 0 setting. So I'm going to back this one off so that I can spin this where I want. I'm going to go, there's 1 full revolution. I'm going to go 2 full revolutions. It takes 4 revolutions to go from 0 to 50 and then 4 more to go from 50 to 100, and so on. So I'm going to cut the distance in half and firm that up. There we go. And go from there. So we'll try our next setting at essentially what would be considered 25. I'm logging this data so that we can come back and hit the nodes that we like the most. All right, so we got our next setting, and we're going to go ahead and fire a 2-shot and see what we get. So those appear to be about a 1/2 inch apart or so. I definitely say our original setting was better, but we're going to go ahead and run through these and collect. We're going to do our two rotations here and see kind of where the good nodes are, and then I can go back and fine tune based on those results. So I'm not going to bore you with every time I got to go through and change it. We'll just kind of skip to the end. Okay, not the greatest. Now that group right there shows a lot of promise. With that being said, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since we're on a pretty good node, I'm going to take a 5-shot group, or I believe a 5-shot group at that target, and see if it will hold that node. I'm not sure that I want to lose it. So let me get a couple rounds here. All right, we're going to stay on that same target, but shoot a 5-shot group to see if that's going to hold. I don't think this is going to be a good one. So that node seems to be splitting 2 groups. I don't really care for that. So we're going to keep looking and keep going, see what else we can find. All right, so we're on our last setting, and we'll try this one and then come back to some of those other nodes that looked a little better than what we've seen so far. right, so there's that. We'll go ahead and get this thing readjusted to some of those other nodes that look like they were working. So this was our very first setting, and it looked pretty promising, so we're going to give it a shot again. All right, so I think I've got the setting I'm going to work with for now. Let's go ahead and change over, and I'll take a couple shots at 100 yards and see how that turns out. See if our groups from yesterday improved any. All right, so we've got a couple of siders down at 100 yards. I think I got her more or less dialed in. I'm not shooting for bullseye here. We're just testing groups. We'll worry about bullseyes later. So let's take a 5-shot group and see how it compares. Pretty low. All right, so I did have a flyer. The rest of the group looked really clean, so I'm going to chalk that up to probably something just rimfire related. We will have flyers from time to time. It could have been me, could have been the ammo. I'm not sure, but judging on how much better that group is overall, I'd say that that one is definitely a flyer. That being said, that's not a bad group at 100 yards. Considering considering how it was trying to act at 50, at 100, it's hanging in there. So with that being said, I'm gonna call this, at least a tentative success. We've compared to the groups I was shooting yesterday, and I have a considerable less amount of wind than I had. So, we go either way with that. The wind definitely yesterday was skewing some groups, but in its stock configuration, the gun was not terribly accurate. With a good trigger, a more ergonomic and comfortable grip, the tuner is helping. It probably needs a little more attention to detail. I need to really sit down and deal with it. But as you can see, we're headed in the right direction, and really we could do a lot of testing right here before we ever get it dialed just perfectly in. But for all intents and purposes, I think it's going to do the job and get my son kind of off the ground and running, so to speak. So that's it. This is Midwest Long Range. I appreciate you guys for watching. This is a Ruger Precision Rimfire, and we'll catch you next time.